I want you to listen to what Anand Giridharadas had to say here, because I think he's on to something. Many of us look at Trump's win. Yes, he only got 49 point something percent of the vote, which means still 50% of the people who voted weren't supporters of Trump. And even some of the people who supported Trump, we know that a large percentage of those simply supported him because they always vote, but they would not support a woman. They would not support a person of color. So he was their default vote. So we know Trump doesn't even have 49% of the people who actually voted for him, let alone even a much smaller percent of the potential voting population. What I mean by that is this: 80-something million people didn't vote. Okay? Now, I want you to listen to Anand Giridharadas, and then I have a special message that I think we need to hear. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Anand, you've written an article talking about the inauguration of us, bringing up the great point that for quite some time there has been this belief that Donald Trump was an outlier. He was a mistake of history. It was a glitch, sort of a glitch in American democracy. But as you write for the Ink, you say, no, this is not a glitch. This is us, or at least 49.9% of us. And so talk about that, and also talk about what that means for Democrats and for others casting a very wary eye on this administration.
I think we've all been in these conversations going back a decade now, which sounds painful to say, but there was this fantasy that this is some kind of infection of the body politic, or this is some kind of alien invader. The Russia thing was sort of that fantasy of maybe he's a plant from elsewhere. Maybe he's being manipulated in through compromat, or all these things. And if you have that view, then you're looking for these saviors. Maybe someone can kind of expunge this from us. Maybe Bob Mueller will do it. Maybe Merrick Garland will do it. Maybe Jack Smith will do it. Maybe this criminal case will do it. And there's been a lot of waiting for saviors. And as I was reflecting on what today means, it seems to me at this point, this is, as you said, this is us. This is a part of us. And I don't just mean that it's 49% of our people. I don't think this is a sectional conflict. I think this is a intracellular conflict. I think these are very deep parts of what America is, who all of us are, that have emerged in this man. I think there is this is the country of get rich quick schemes, and of salesmen. It's the country that has a love affair with oligarchs, despite of all the reasons we shouldn't. It's a country in which we've allowed the truth to be optional. It's a country in which we've allowed a lot of our institutions to rot. It's a country in which we love reality TV, even though it's not real. And this man who's taking office for the second time today is a part of us. And I described in the piece the idea that this is an autoimmune condition, not an infection. If it's an autoimmune condition, it's a part of us at war with another part of us. And I think what's going to be really important in these 4 years is for the part of us that is not him, that is better, that is nobler, that believes in the truth, that believes in institutions, to rise up and be healthier. This is not about expunging one man. This is about making healthy a society that allowed for this day to be possible.
Now, he is on to something. He said this is not an infection. This is a autoimmune disease. And he's right. Because look, there are, of the people who voted, there are absolutely just under 50% that could not stomach having a traitor, having a thug, having a thief, having a convicted felon, having a woman abuser as their president. There, again, of the people who voted, but of the totality of the vote, that only is equivalent to 30 or 30-something% of the population who voted for Kamala by saying, I simply cannot have Donald Trump, that felon, as our president. And for those who say, well, yeah, of that popular vote, still 49.8% said they wanted Trump. But we know they didn't really. But Anand makes a very important point. If those people who stayed home felt that they were in such a vulnerable position, that this was existential, that this was dangerous, that having somebody that we know is a rich guy, we know that it's all out for the rich, we know that it's there for the oligarch, if people felt that intrinsically, existentially, then they would have come out to vote against Trump. Not necessarily for Kamala Harris, but against Trump en masse. But as it turns out, many Americans really felt, well, so we get the oligarch in power. Let's see what happens. Who cares? If one wins, it's okay. If the other wins, it's okay. That is a danger. And that is what progressives have to work against. That is what progressives have to instill in people's mind, that no, you matter, and no, the capitalist structure of which oligarchs dominate isn't a sustainable structure, and it's not good for you or your family, and you will never be without an invite to be able to join that club. It is not there for you. The materialism is not there. The false exceptionalism is not there. So what Anand had to say is potent, and it's something that we as a society have to think about. It is something that we better extricate out of our bodies. That individualistic, robust individualism that we talk about that never really existed. Even those people in power right now, the wealthy, it's not rugged individualism that got them there. It's a parasitic behavior, sucking on your blood, making their wealth off of your backs. So what they sell as rugged individualism, what they make us believe is something we should strive for, is something they could have never attained without their behavior of taking advantage of us all.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.